On November 17, 2021, one of the most brazen murders in hip-hop history will take place after two men would exit a stolen white Mercedes-Benz and gun down Memphis rapper Young Dolph as he stood inside of a cookie store. And even though those same two gunmen that was directly involved in the murder would be arrested not long after it took place, now nearly 4 years later, the case has taken a dramatic turn, and we could potentially be seeing Yo Gotti getting arrested soon, as he has been implicated multiple times during the trial. Welcome back to another episode of Didi Got a Podcast, and of course I'm your host Didi. And today I want to talk about a case that hits close to home. I'm not from Memphis, but I'm from the area, and I've lived in Memphis before. And this has been something I've been waiting quite some time to talk about. And as of yesterday, as the trial, or the last person that's responsible for playing a role in Young Dolph's death, his trial is taking place as of yesterday, and so it's super relevant to talk about it. But I'm going to back up a little bit for those of you who may not know who Young Dolph is, who Yo Gotti is. If you are not yet a member of the Patreon, link is in the description. Please consider becoming a member, as you will have access to many videos you cannot find here on YouTube. Basically, Young Dolph is a rapper from Memphis, Tennessee. Yo Gotti is as well. Young Dolph really blew up probably during the late 2000s, probably 2008, 2009, 2010, early 2010s. I graduated in 2012, so I remember doing my time in high school. I remember when his first mixtapes came out, everybody was playing his music. It was a really big deal. And over the years, he became more and more popular. And through media and social media, he would start to voice his disagreements with another rapper from Memphis. His name is Yo Gotti. As a lot of you will know who these people are, but this is for those of you who do not. And essentially, the story goes, Yo Gotti tried to sign Young Dolph. They used to get along very well. Young Dolph was a big fan of, Yo Gotti was a big fan of Young Dolph's music, and Young Dolph declined the offer. He did not want to sign to Yo Gotti's CMG label, and he wanted to remain independent and do his own thing, but he respected Yo Gotti and what he had going on. But of course, like anything, pride and ego starts to play a role, and before you knew it, they went a full-fledged beef. Up until the point where things really escalated. So much, in fact, that in February 2017, Young Dolph's vehicle was literally shot up 100 times during an attempted shooting. The incident took place in Charlotte, North Carolina, around 6:30 p.m. while Young Dolph was attending the CI tournament weekend. His SUV was reportedly shot up, yet Young Dolph would escape unharmed thanks in part to his bulletproof panels in his vehicle. And for those of you who are not familiar with the situation, Yo Gotti has an artist by the name of Black Youngster, who is also from Memphis. And it was alleged at this time that Black Youngster played a heavy role in this because Black Youngster and Young Dolph started to beef with each other, as many people perceive this as Black Youngster basically adopting Yo Gotti's beef with Young Dolph. Well, it wouldn't stop there. In fact, it got a lot worse. Even though Black Youngster would actually be arrested for this shooting that took place in North Carolina, there was another shooting that took place just later that year. On September 2017, just a few months later, Young Dolph was involved in another shooting outside of the Lowe's Hollywood Hotel, specifically in the valet parking area near Hollywood and Holland, after an argument escalated into a physical altercation and a suspect pulled out a gun and opened fire. Young Dolph was critically injured but managed to escape and was rushed to the hospital, where he later recovered. The alleged shooter was a guy by the name of Corey McClendon, who is a known associate, you guessed it, of Yo Gotti's. He was arrested but later released after they dropped the charges. And during this time when Yo Gotti, Young Dolph is being shot up and people are trying to, kill him and all this and the third, he's actually taunting these people. I can't understand it for the life of me. I really can't understand that. But he's taunting these people. He's making songs. One of his biggest songs of his career is a song called 100 Shots, where he's taunting the people about the fact that they shot so many times and they didn't kill anybody, let alone kill him. And it's a really catchy song. Again, it's one of the biggest records that he's ever put together. Then after the Hollywood shooting, he was doing Breakfast Club interviews where he was taunting the people and saying that they weren't good at their job. And then his records just became more and more disrespectful, to the point where he was not only taunting them for not actually getting the job done, But then he would move it a step further, and he was actually making songs about Yo Gotti specifically, and stating that he, slept with Yo Gotti's baby mama. And things just continued to escalate, bro. He claimed that Yo Gotti is jealous of him and that he's hating on other people. He don't want other people from Memphis to win. And things just continued to escalate to the point where Yo Gotti was being questioned about it, doing his interviews where he was just denying it and saying that he didn't have a problem with Young Dolph, even though most people didn't believe him. And then that brings us to 2021. Young Dolph came back to Memphis, as he does every single year, where he gives out turkeys to the community. And allegedly, apparently, Young Dolph drove around the neighborhood often. This was something he did quite a bit, and he had vehicles that were very unique because they were camouflage colored. Pretty much all his vehicles were camouflage colored. And on November 17th, this particular day, he decided, along with his brother, to drive to Makita's cookie shop, or the exact name was Makita's Homemade Butter Cookie Shop, and decided to go there to get him some cookies. And when he pulled up to the store, it was while him and his brother were standing inside the store that two men approached in a white two-door Mercedes-Benz. They exited the vehicle and opened fire into the bakery. And Dolph actually was shot 22 times, including to his back and forehead, and he actually passed away there on the scene. The people involved with this murder was a guy by the name of Justin Johnson, who is actually a rapper himself, known as Straight Drop, who was arrested and indicted on multiple charges, including first-degree murder, conspiracy, firearm possession, and property theft in connection to the killing. A guy by the name of Cornelius Smith Jr., who was also arrested and charged, and he was linked to the case through SUV theft and first-degree murder charges. A guy by the name of Jamarcus Johnson, who is Justin's half-brother. He pleaded guilty to accessory after the fact because he admitted to helping the shooters while they were on the run and assisted with communications and received probation. And then there's a guy by the name of Hernandez Govin, who was charged later as the suspected organizer of the hit, facing first-degree murder and conspiracy charges. And this is the guy particularly who's on trial as we speak. His trial started this month, August 2025, and this is where the testimony alleged that rapper Big Jook, who is Yo Gotti's brother, ordered the killing. And Hernandez Govin allegedly coordinated the hit and provided the shooters with Dolph's schedule. And there's a few reasons why I want to talk about this, because number one, this hit's different because Dolph is from Memphis. I'm from Arkansas, but the part of Arkansas I'm literally like 2 hours away from Memphis. I've lived in Memphis before. I have family in Memphis. My brothers have lived in Memphis multiple different times. So it's like another home for me. And so what we're about to talk about right now, it hits a little bit different, and it makes it harder to believe that somebody that's affiliated to somebody that could be into this type of stuff. But we got to tell the truth on this channel. And Young Dolph is cousins with a guy by the name of Bankroll Freddie. A lot of you all will know who that is, but for those of you who don't, Bankroll Freddie is a popular rapper who signed to the same record labels as the Migos. I went to school with Freddie. He's also from Helena, Arkansas. That's where I'm from. Freddie's barber is a guy by the name of White, who's like a brother to me. I grew up with him. We were two of the biggest artists to ever come out of Helena, Arkansas. But I digress. The point that I'm making is I didn't know Dolph personally. I never got to meet him in real life, but I knew people who knew him really, really well. So when I saw this video that Young Dolph released, and I believe it's the video for a song called Talking to My Scale, this is one of the oddest things to see from somebody, again, that I kind of knew, or I knew through somebody else, when he was doing all of the one-eye symbolism. And not only that, but the video wasn't just super dark and demonic, but it was also the lyrics, because he stated somewhere in the song something to the extent of he would sacrifice himself. It's just a very odd thing to say, and I always wondered what he meant by that. And then not long after that, the whole situation happened, and a lot of people always wondered why he moved around Memphis the way that he did. And the thing with a lot of these street guys is that they're not going to be like Jay-Z and Kanye West and some of these more, popular artists on the mainstream, because they're from the streets. So you may not find as much symbolism in their videos, but what I need people to understand is, like, as I've said in my other videos, gang life, fraternity life, Freemasonry, it's all the same thing. I know people find it hard to believe because a lot of that stuff, like the gang life, is so glorified and it's so, dangerous a lot of times. But what people don't understand is the foundation of it. Right? A lot of that, they have a lot of the same hand signs. They have a lot of the same colors. They have a lot of the same rituals. that people don't even understand as far as like initiation rituals and humiliation rituals and, you know, processes that you have to go through if you don't want to be a part of the fraternity or the gang anymore. I look at fraternities as low-level Freemasonry. Why am I talking about this? Because I don't know for a fact that Dolph was in a gang or not, but a lot of the people he was affiliated with were gang members. That's a fact. And so the fact that he released this video not long before his demise, a lot of people, including myself, found that to be very strange, because up until that point, you couldn't find very much, if any, symbolism in Young Dolph's videos, because he was a street dude. The way that they'd have to quote-unquote sacrifice or prove their worth to make it into the industry would be the lifestyle that they were indulging in and the people that they affiliated themselves with and the lifestyle that comes with that. That's a form of selling your soul as well. Another reason I want to talk about this is because of Big Jook, or Yo Gotti's brother. Because even though it's, I would say it's pretty much been proven, everything in this video is alleged, but it's pretty much been proven at this point, in my opinion, because multiple different people have stated that Big Jook played a huge role. It was a $100,000 bounty on Young Dolph's head that he was willing to pay. But allegedly, one of the guys that's on trial said that he was only paid $800. And because of that, and not only that, but he found out that, I guess, Straight Drop and I guess the guy Justin and another one was trying to pin everything on him. He was like, I'm going to tell on everybody. And so that's where Yo Gotti's name comes up, because Yo Gotti's name has come up a bunch of times if they're talking about who's affiliated with him, if they're just talking about the beef, but also when they're talking about Big Jook. Because not only is Big Jook important because of the alleged or the supposed bounty that was on Young Dolph's head, but because of Big Jook's death as well. That's right, because Big Jook, on January 13th, 2024, so last year, so less than 3 years later, Big Jook was actually gunned down when he came, where he was visiting Memphis or something to the extent. He was here for a funeral. And my understanding is that Yo Gotti was at the same funeral with him. And then Yo Gotti left the funeral, and I believe he hopped on a plane and got up out of here. My understanding is that Big Jook left the funeral and went to a restaurant in Memphis. And it was when he was leaving this restaurant that he would be gunned down. Why am I talking about this? Because a lot of people, as the young people would say, the streets, have alleged that, much similar to the Dirk Von situation that we talked about, they feel like this was a backdoor. They feel like Yo Gotti set up his own brother so that there was no trail back to Yo Gotti as it relates to the Young Dolph murder. I don't know if that's true. A lot of people have said that, and to be honest, to me personally, again, I'm not saying it to be true, it makes a lot of sense. Because up until that point, nothing had happened. I know it's a lot of beef and there's a lot of street stuff going on. I'm not underestimating that. But I just find it interesting that Yo Gotti's brother and Yo Gotti's mother, who was present, almost were unalived after leaving a funeral that Yo Gotti attended, but Yo Gotti left before the shooting happened. Just seems very strange to me. And one would think, if you looking at a situation and you seeing how this Dolph trial is playing out, and maybe, possibly, something could be linked back to you because people are in the courtroom talking and they're in these interrogation room talking, I would be afraid too. Not saying he did it, but I'm just saying it's super suspicious. But the biggest thing about all of this, in my opinion, is how we always seem to see this. Yo Gotti has become bigger than ever. You know, it's like he signed Glorilla. A lot of people thought that she was going to be a one-hit wonder. Not only was she not a one-hit wonder, but this girl done got, all this plastic surgery, which we've all heard the rumors and the things about what women got to do when they join the industry. They got to get these surgeries done. They have to fit a certain image. We just listened to the artist the other day talk about the whole Dubai trips. She's sitting up there looking like a whole nother version of Meg Thee Stallion. And I made a video years ago where I talked about, I said, just pay attention to Glorilla, y'all. She's going to start making the hand signs and the symbolism. And sure enough, she started doing the one-eye symbolism as well. All of this stuff is demonic, bro. Even if it's just right up the street from me or across the country, all of this stuff is the same. But my point is, it just seems like his record label, not to say that there aren't any challenges, but it just seems like he's winning bigger than ever while people around him are dropping. And now we're talking about a trial where this Hernandez Govan guy looks like he's gotten beat up. His attorney is talking about he's willing to say whatever's possible because he's broke and he's a nobody and he don't got money like Yo Gotti and Big Jook had or has. I personally believe it's just a matter of time, because if you saying Yo Gotti's name 50 times during this trial, you got all these witnesses up here saying that without a doubt, he's been to multiple meetings where Big Jook was present and talking about this, and he was the second hand man, or the first hand man, second in charge at under CMG label, right under Yo Gotti. The fact this man ain't even been questioned yet is suspicious. But y'all in the comment section, y'all give me y'all thoughts. Another thing I want to point out real fast is I thought it was very strange that Dolph turned down a $22 million deal and got shot 22 times. But I do want to make sure that I say this for the record. I'm not saying that these situations are always conspiratorial. I'm not saying that it's never strictly street stuff that's going on. But what I'm saying is, it's always odd to me that it's always this symbolism and these weird occurrences that's happening right before. Yes, Dolph should have been way more careful, right? He often posted himself outside the cookie shop. He went to that cookie shop a lot. It was in the neighborhood he grew up in. People knew how to find him. I get it. But you can't help but to think that is there some other stuff that's going on when Dolph goes from just talking about street stuff, selling drugs, smoking weed, fornication, all the typical prototypical stuff you hear in music and rap and hip hop, to all of a sudden talking to my scale, which is once again that talks about drugs. Video has nothing to do with that. Weird symbolism that he's never done before, and then he loses his life. I don't know, bro. It's weird. It's weird to me. That's all. Y'all in the comment section, give me your thoughts, man. Let me know what you think about this. Pray for everybody mentioned in this video. Rest in peace to everybody who lost their life mentioned in this video. Pray for me. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Demetrius. I go by Didi. Until next time. Peace. Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.